Hello everybody, we are going to start our Sandra Silberzweig portrait done in the Cubist style of Picasso, and which Sandra was influenced by. So let's just start. And these are the materials that you will need. You will have chalk pastels or dry pastels, or sometimes they call them soft pastels. They're not oil. They will get on your hands. We also have the color wheel that you did in your workbook. And you're going to need that for reference too. So you're going to have that handy. And I will have some printouts of some color wheels for those who want them smaller. Then I have a pencil, a Sharpie, a black Sharpie, and my specialty paper. Now mine is a little bit smaller than yours will be, but this is just good enough for the example. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start, and I'm going to move this over. And also you will need a tissue. You actually might need more than one, so I will have those handy for you also. The first thing we're going to do, just like we practiced in class, is we are going to draw in pencil the features, and we're going to start with the outline of the face. Then we're going to do the nose, which is kind of lines going this way. Then we're going to do the eyes, and they are like, I call them smiles. And this is where you can make yours a little different. You can decide on how you want your eyes to look. They should be this shape on the outside, but you can do ones that are, make them a little different. And I'm going to keep going with my drawing here. I think that's fine for now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Sharpie. And we're going to do this with our Sharpie twice. And I'll explain. I'm going to outline everything. So I finished doing my outline, and I decided I didn't want to do the eyelashes here, so I'm just going to quickly erase that. And you can erase anything that you want, just gently. The next step is adding the color. And one of the things that Sandra did when she used and chose her colors was she really looked at the color wheel and how that worked. So colors are divided into different groups, as we know. We have done warm and cool colors, where the warm colors are this side, the cool colors are this side. We have done colors, we've done primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. But as we move through the grades, and in grade 4 we do this also, we talk about something called analogous colors. And those are colors that are beside each other on the color wheel. Okay? So it's like a group of colors, and it can be anywhere on the color wheel. And you can see that when you're working over here. You can see that when I'm mixing colors here, I am blending colors that are beside each other on the color wheel. For example, there's like a purple, a fuchsia, and a purple. And when I'm over here, I have a green and a blue. So you can see that I'm mixing that. Anyway, let's start. So when I give you the cups, or I'm going to have little divided trays of color groups, I'm already going to put them in different color groups for you. I'm going to put some blues and greens. I'm going to put some blues and purples. I'm going to put some reds and purples, some yellows and greens, yellows and orange. So I'm going to mix them for you. But I want you to be mindful when you're blending that that's what you're going to do. So I'm going to start, and the first thing I'm going to do is when I blend, I'm going to choose two colors, and I'm going to do, let's say I want to do this section here, I'm going to do a pink and a purple, or a purple and a red. Let's do purple and red, and I'm going to, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and you can go over your Sharpie a little bit, and so I'm adding that there, and now I'm going to add the other color here. And you can see it gets very dusty. And that's okay. They will get on your fingers. This is a kind of a little bit of a finger messy activity. And I'm going to start by blending with my finger over here, trying to keep it within the lines. And then there we go. And what I can do is I don't want to blow it. I don't want to blow the dust around, but you can gently shake it on the floor, or if you can you can go over to the garbage and just shake it, or just shake it on a spot in your desk. And that's okay. I got a little bit over here, and I'll just use my tissue. And whenever you switch colors, you have to wipe your fingers with your tissue. Your tissue is not for your artwork, because if you use your tissue, you're going to rub it off. So your tissue's for your fingers, for your desk, but that's it. And I'm going to move on to my next color. And I'm going to continue with this for a little while. So I'm going to do a green. I'm going to pick this green, and I'm going to pick this blue, and I'm going to do that over here on this side of the background. And once I do this, I'm going to continue a little bit longer on the bigger areas first, the larger areas first, and then I'm going to come back to do the smaller areas. But while I'm doing that, I can decide that, let's just skip over here. I'll come back to that. Let's say I want to do a pattern here. So maybe I decided I wanted to do a pattern, and I wanted to change colors. So maybe I'll do this, and I'll mix colors over here. So I just added, so you're working always with your marker and with your pastels, changing things all the time. And we're using different line patterns and other things. So I kind of like the way I did that now. That looks better to me. And you don't have to do a lot. You can just add a little bit, because we're also, as you see here, we're also going to add details and patterns and dots and little dashes to our work afterwards using the pastels again. So I'm going to quickly speed this up, and then I'm going to get to the detail. So now I've basically done most of the large areas, and if there's a little area you want to just touch up in there, you can do that. But I wanted to leave one area to just show you. When I'm doing my colors, I want to make sure that I'm really thinking about my color wheel, and I want to keep my colors separate. So I mixed blue and green here, but I didn't want to use a blue and green here or here. So I'm really thinking about placement of colors. And now you don't want to put the same color group next to the same color group. You want to try and think about where you're putting which colors as you're working. The other thing I wanted to say was, in the bigger areas, you want to use 2 or 3 of the analogous colors that are right beside each other. So when you're doing that, that's fine for the larger areas. But the smaller areas, you're going to just use one color in each section, and that's fine. Now, you really have to make sure, like I said, your fingers are clean, and don't worry about it, because we're going to go over with a fine liner again at the end. So don't worry if your blacks look kind of, faded or whatever. Also, remember with the tissue, you can use it for your desk too, or you can use it to wipe away a clean area, but do not use it to wipe away an area that you've already worked on, because you will remove the color. Okay, so I've done all the big areas. Also, when I'm working with the chalk, your pieces are going to be about this big. When I'm filling in the big areas, I kind of work with the chalk on its side, okay? But when I'm doing the smaller areas, I'm going to use the corner. So for example here, I'm going to just do one color here. I'm going to do the yellow, and I'm going to find a corner, and I'm going to fill in more with the corner, just a little bit, not too much, but a little bit, just to get into those smaller areas. So I'm just about finished my colors here. And I wanted to just show you that you can actually use the white if you want. And none of this is realistic. Remember, this is all abstract. So I can actually just fill in white here if I want to, or I can make it a color. That's up to you. So now I'm pretty much done. Now I'm going to go over again, but this time you have to be very careful. And what I recommend is that you take a clean tissue, and if you're working on an area, you can just put your hand down and work on the area without removing it. And I'm carefully putting my hand down, but I really shouldn't. I really should just turn the paper. So I'm not putting my hand on it at all. And like I said, if you actually go around it here, you know, and if you miss a spot, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can just retrace it again. See, I missed a spot there. I'll just go over it like that, and then I'll just even match it up on the other side. And I am now done. And you can see how by retracing it, it brings the colors out more. Now my next step is going to be adding more detail. And as you can see over here, I did these little kind of dashes and extra lines and things like that to really make it like it is like Sandra Silberzweig, where all the colors and her synesthesia comes out, where everything is moving and colors are so vibrant and they're dancing and they're moving around. And it's really quite a lovely piece when you're done. And let's get to it quickly, where I'm going to just decide on what colors I'm using. Now, you don't have to follow any color wheel rules now. You can just match up what you want, but you always want to make sure that when you do lighter, you go darker, or when you go darker, you go lighter, so you can see it. So over here, if I want to just do some yellow dashes, it shows up nicely on the blue part. But it may not show up on the green, so I'll switch to something else. I can use both black and white now if I want. I can do little dots here. It's really mostly dashes. And you use the corner to get that as opposed to the side. And you don't have to do it everywhere. You can just add a little bit of detail in different parts. This is pretty much done, I think. I might just do a little bit more. I think I'm done. Anyway, good luck. I can't wait to see them. I will spray them with a fixative so that the chalk will stay once you're finished. And I can't wait to see them.